May I have your attention please, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed panelists are already on the stage waiting for the audience to trickle in.
ये कहाँ से है? गंदा मैडम जी। हाँ तो कहाँ से है? कंपनी तो कुछ होगा।
पिछले बार इधर CI की तरफ से।
हाँ
पिछले बार इधर CI की तरफ से।
CI
था ना एक कंपनी।
CI हमें लोग तो कहते हैं CI
नहीं वो भी CI की तरफ है। इस बार ये इसका
आई है।
हाँ IEI भी
ये तो पूरा इवेंट का है।
हाँ इसी को
मेरा इंडियन है तो पूरा इवेंट का है। ये किसकी तरफ से है? हम ये पूछना
वहाँ पर CI की तरफ
है। जैसे मैं ग्रोवर। हाँ
तो उसको LCD भी जैसे भी चल रहा है ना 12 बजे चला
वो तो वहाँ वो आया था इसीलिए।
Welcome back after lunch. Hope you had a nice one. We are starting the session now without waiting for everyone to come in. Our esteemed panelists in this session bring on the floor extensive experience and immense knowledge. And the session is being moderated by Mr. K.V. Nagendra Prasad, COO of Hitex and Vice President of IEIA. He is an active member of various industry associations and bodies. He is associated with exhibitions and events industry for over 15 years now. And we have on our panel Mr. David Dubois, President and CEO of International Association of Exhibitions and Events, IAEE, and Mr. Mark Cochrane, Regional Manager, Asia Pacific of UFI, the Global Association of the Exhibition Industry. It's all yours, Mr. K.V. Nagendra Prasad.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are all having fun here, especially me, to two of these young people here. Hope everybody enjoys this afternoon session post lunch. The topic of today's discussion is value of research reports for the global exhibition industry and perspective of UFI and IIA, the leading global associations. Before we get into the session, I would request David and Mark here to, in a couple of minutes, tell us about what their respective organizations are doing in terms of generating, evaluating, and publishing these industry reports for the benefit of the industry.
Shall I go first? Because America begins with A and Canada begins with A or C. Well, good afternoon, everyone. So this is all of our audience, Katie and Mark, are keenly interested in research. We still have some more ladies and gentlemen coming in, so we'll get started here. And what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about what the International Association of Exhibitions and Events, who partners with, we partner with our sister organization called the Center for Exhibition Industry Research, or CEIR. And CEIR is an organization that has its own governance. The CEIR organization has a board of directors of about 20 different ladies and gentlemen who are involved in both for-profit public shows as well as association shows. And they also have, CEIR also has, as part of their governance, members from different associations. For example, CISO is a member of CEIR. IAEE certainly is the major member, only because we have a services agreement and we help manage the good work that the President and CEO, Brian Casey, does on behalf of the CEIR organization. So for those of you who are keenly interested in CEIR, I'm going to give you just some highlights about what they do. First of all, their website is ceir.org, ceir.org. And what we do at SEER is we cover predominantly the United States, Canada, and Mexico, where SEER tracks a little over 9,000 shows and produces a quarterly index that looks at trends, and it's been doing so for over 20 years in 15 different vertical markets or industries. Once again, CEIR.org. On an annual basis, SEER produces, based upon a great input and suggestions from a research committee that's part of the SEER Board of Directors, 8 to 10 industry trend research reports that are conducted on an annual basis. And of course, the number and the topic areas change per year. Some are pretty consistent because you want to benchmark year over year what is happening in the industry. And if you are a member of CISO or if you're a member of IAEE, these reports are complementary to you in their entirety. For those who are not members of IAEE and CISO, then those reports are also available to you at a nominal fee, that when you go on and you look at the type of reports that are available through the SEER website and identify what's important to you in the various categories, because all of the reports are cataloged and searchable through the website, and you can identify what's important to you and what you might want to purchase in its entirety. On a quarterly basis, SEER puts out what's called an index, and the index identifies and tracks 4 different areas that are very important to us in the United States, very important to us in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, but certainly around the world, because as you'll hear from Mark, what we're trying to do too is develop consistent standards of measurement and research, to the point where Brian Casey, who is the president and CEO of SEER, will be attending a meeting in June with the ladies and gentlemen who are involved with audits and consistency of research, so that we have a bridge to have more credible and consistent research, which is some of the things that we've heard about over the last couple of days as well. But the 4 areas that we track in our SEER index are net square foot sold, and obviously for mathematicians and online capabilities, that's easy to convert to square meters. So that's one of the things, Mark, that we'll be talking about coming up next month during the meetings. Attendance, number of exhibitors, and total exhibition revenues. Typically, growth is tracked and mirrors through the SEER research, mirrors what's happening, as we've heard here in India several times over the last many speakers we've had in 2 days, the GDP in the given countries where this information is being tracked. And attendance is usually the leading indicator on what happens in a particular country through SEER research that's tracked, and the lagging other metrics, the other metrics kind of lag behind generation of attendance. And Katie, I'll finish my opening comments by saying that the various topics that are covered by the SEER reports, once again, CEIR.org, are decision makers' perception of the value of exhibitions relative to the sales and marketing planning that they do, return on investment for both attendees and exhibitors, marketing strategies for effective exhibition marketing efforts, and then international reports that can convey over any cultures and most cultures and countries, that talks about marketing trends, measurement, growth, and future-oriented predictions. So that's my kind of opening thoughts, and I'll turn it over to Mark.
Thank you, David. Okay, so I'll just pick out some of the highlights of the reports that UFI publishes every year. We face a couple challenges. First is that the exhibition industry in general is rather poorly researched. The data is spread across a lot of markets through a lot of different industry bodies and small and large players. So it's really a challenge to gather that data. The second piece of the challenge for UFI is we're a global association, so we have members in over 80 countries. So trying to gather office in Hong Kong. We've done 10 editions of that report now, and we really focus, we try to be fairly comprehensive, but we try to focus on really giving a gauge of net square meters sold across Asia each year, applying the same methodology to all of those different 14 markets. There are challenges and pros and cons to applying that methodology across different markets. And some of the way the exhibition markets work in Asia are very different. I can get into that a little later in the session. Other reports we do, we have a world map of venues, which I think the name speaks for itself what that is. We have Eurofair statistics, which again, relying on the influence of our members and associated bodies, that report relies on input from, I think it's 13 or 14 different associations across Europe. We have the UFI Global Barometer, Global Exhibition Barometer, which is a report we launched in the middle of the global financial crisis. I think the first edition came out in December 2008. And we work with CISO, we work with the FIDO, we work with other organizations to send a survey to their members and our members to get a sense for how their business performed in the past 6 months, how they anticipate it will perform in the next 6 to 12 months. And as I say, that one really came out of the global financial crisis, but it proved so popular that we've kept doing it twice a year since then. I mentioned economic impact studies. This is a really important one that many different associations across the world do, and they all have different methodologies. So we're trying to work on, as David mentioned, standards is really important. It's also very hard to implement the same standards across markets. So we're trying to catalog the different methodologies that are used in putting together these economic impact studies. They're very important in the message that we send to our national governments, our state governments, provincial governments to try and get support for our industry. And then the final mention I'll make is global exhibition industry statistics, which we work with CIR. I think the website is CIR. And PSG, my company in Hong Kong, and a number of others to get input for, that's really a sort of top level view of the exhibition industry. So those are some of the key reports that we put out on an annual basis.
From the Indian context, I think many of us here will ask this question. Both these organizations come out with excellent reports about the status of various events and events. But we'd like to ask you, a new organizer, where to look at India or any other country, how would these reports be used? Or rather, if will these reports help organizers choose their subjects, destinations?
If you have a new organizer looking at a specific market, you really have to dive deep. A lot of these reports are trying to give top-level macro view of what's happening in, whether it's the exhibition industry in Indonesia or in China. And if you're an organizer looking at launching a particular event, you're going to have to go deeper than that. You have to look at venue capacity, what's available when. You have to look at existing events, what the infrastructure is. And these reports are really not designed to do that. They're designed, and the UFI ones are generally designed to give a sense for the market, a sense for a region, how it's growing, how it's changing, whether it's in terms of net square meters sold or venue capacity, the general direction of the market.
And KB, yesterday, the first industry report for India was released. I don't know, Mark, if you've had a chance to look at it yet. I have not. So I'm not sure exactly what kind of deep dives that it takes, as Mark suggests. But, possibly looking at UFI research and CIR research and looking at the various segments that are available could help the Indian exhibition industry, and a particular organizer who's looking at either launching a show and or he or she already has a show in place. They're trying to understand the demographics better. There might be some methodologies that can be shared by UFI and CIR, and we certainly, Mark and I are not the research folks, but we put you in touch with the right people.
What would industry colleagues here, especially the Indian Exhibition Industry Association. How can they work with both your organizations so that this kind of data is available for the international organizers to come in and also for the local players to look at?
Yeah. So David actually mentioned a couple times in his opening comments about inputs. And that's really the key to any research report is the quality of the inputs, the quality of the data that goes in. And, you know, UFI has a small secretariat. We don't have offices in every country. So we really rely, our first stop when we're putting together data is we go to the local government and we go to the National Association of any market that we're trying to cover. So the better that the better job that national associations do of gathering information on their industry from their members, then that kind of trickles up towards UFI. So there are some markets where we have really fantastic data, like in Singapore, Hong Kong, Korea, because the associations are really active and work closely with their members to collect data. In Hong Kong, they actually, the association together with a couple other bodies, they commissioned their own economic impact study for 2 years, I believe it is. And then there's other markets which are much more challenging, like China, which is obviously a huge and important market, but the availability and the quality of the data there is much harder to get. You've got over 100 venues, you've got no national association, so piecing together what's happening in the market takes a lot longer.
So Katie, can I ask you a question? Yeah, as a member of the executive committee of IEIA, is there a research committee or subcommittee that's working with the industry here to develop a deeper dive on statistics and data, or is there an entity in the government that is responsible for that?
Definitely not the government, it's the industry to take it forward. And yes and no for your question. The association is also working on it. It takes probably to take inputs from associations like yours, take it and make it more meaningful.
Well, I could do it on behalf of SEER, but if IEIA would like to have conversations with SEER, I can make that happen with Brian Casey, and I know that possibly Mark, you can do the same with your team in Paris.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do leading international exhibition organizations, do they really look at these reports when they take a decision on a particular country or city?
I can say most definitely. Yeah. I mean, the Trade Fairs in Asia report is one of UFI's most popular reports. We sell many copies each year. As I say, it gives an overview rather than, you know, should or should they not launch an event in Singapore. But that research is immensely valuable because it gives them a sense for, you know, what the market is, are there any gaps in the market, you know, who are the leading organizers there, what's the venue capacity, like they have to answer those questions before they can decide on whether to greenlight a project. And definitely these reports aren't the final stop, but they should always be the first stop, and they often are. On top of that, we often get requests for additional data to the UFI office, you know, whether they're members that don't operate in that particular Asian market, and they're looking for more. And we have a database of several thousand exhibitions in Asia that we can tap into to help them identify potential partners or potential venues that they can work with. So absolutely valued. I think I mentioned yesterday, you know, when UFI does surveys of its members, one of the most valuable parts of your UFI membership, where you get the value from. Research is always in the top three. It's networking, education, and research, not necessarily the order.
And I would also assume, but I'll throw this out when we get into a Q&A with the audience, that there are certainly chambers of commerce within various states within India. There's certainly the Indian government, Chamber of Commerce, and the secretariats of international business that are keeping statistics by various industry sectors. Because as I mentioned earlier, SEER does track 15 various sectors, be it technology, healthcare, automotive, science, agriculture, equipment. So if somebody's looking for how the deep dives are done within SEER, once again, we have an economist that is hired by SEER that can help any of you in the audience with those type of methodologies. And, because obviously, OB probably has, as Mark said, a lot more research here in Asia and India than we do.
In the context of India, the data is mostly underrepresented. We are only touching the top of the iceberg. There are many hundreds of events that happen, but probably not in purpose-built venues, or the size of the events are not to that extent that it could be considered for the reporting. But the exhibition industry here exists, maybe not to the scale in leading countries. If it was only statistics or data, yes, we are not represented. Maybe both your organizations will help us fine-tune mechanisms so that the reporting improves. But understanding the country, you've been visiting India and looking at it, could I ask you what is the intent of both your organizations in terms of supporting in the local associations here? And also, what do you see as the trend for the next 5 years for the Indian exhibition industry?
Okay, so I'll take the second one first. So for the trend for the next 5 years, according to our research, the market in India has really been outperforming the rest of the region. Not all of the markets, but most of them. The regional average over the past 5 years, this is in terms of net square meters sold. So regional average was about 17% growth over the past 5 years. And India outperformed that significantly, I think about 21.5%. So it's been a strong performer. I was very pleased to hear about potential additional venues being built. Of course, that's a longer term play. But when you look across the news over the past year in terms of venues looking at expanding Bangalore, you've got the IC expanding Forgetting My Dead, talking about going to 200,000. You have the Dwarka project, hopefully in Bombay, the EC being redeveloped, potentially very positive developments. All of those, if any of those come into play where we see additional capacity added in, I think you'll see very strong growth performing the rest of the region. I mean, it's really key to get that venue piece, obviously, as well as having government support for those more areas of the right then, so you don't pass state or something. What was your first question again?
Supporting the local industry.
Oh, okay, yeah. So in terms of supporting the local, I mean, Goofy's objective.
Are there any plans or we discuss where we can discuss any decision making by the committees of Goofy or IAE in getting more active in Indian, right? Trying to make your research more relevant to the local audience?
Well, there's a number of ways we can be active in a market, and Goofy has about 25 members here, and we very actively try and engage with them. We brought the Open Seminar here, which is our most important Asian event, annual event every year. We brought it to Bangalore last year. We have the EMB, the Exhibition Management degree, will also be held in Bangalore this year. So we're trying to give opportunities not only through research, but just through supporting the industry here. Ravinder mentioned yesterday about the Orga venue project that he was actively involved in lobbying the government to address the venue capacity issue. But overall, our objective is to serve our members that are already here and to help the industry to internationalize and continue to grow.
Well, I can pretty much echo what Mark says, but to kind of move in a little bit different direction. 3 years ago, Lou Schomer and I from CISO put together a baseline Asian survey. Again, talking to the CISO members, show organizers in the United States, and also the IAE show organizers, asking them about their intentions. Do they currently hold shows in Asia? And if Lou gives me the thumbs up, we'd be happy to work with you to do a specific survey questionnaire and start it now. Maybe you do it annually, which we can work on the survey questions, the type of information you want to gather about the intentions, the current desires, or the current activities of the CISO and IE members. And Lou is shaking his head that we'd be happy, KBE, to do that with you. So over the next couple of weeks or a couple of months at most, we'd be happy to work with 2 or 3 of the ladies and gentlemen on your executive committee to pull sort of that type of survey together. Because I know, as Mark said, Ufi's already doing a lot of great work in this region.
That's quite heartening to go from both the gentlemen here and thank you for the information. I'm sure we'll all look at your support more actively in the near future. I think we'll open the floor for questions. Gentlemen there. From PCS. After this question, I would request Rakesh, President, to give his comment on this subject, please.
Good afternoon. I have done some work on all the reports you have mentioned with your association. One of the big challenges, the criteria does not seem to be consistent. I have a suggestion, like when a WHO report is seen on any health issue, every country follows the same figure or UNCTAD or UNIDO. Instead of taking it association-wise, country-wise, continent-wise, if you involve one of the UN organizations, then the criteria will become universally accepted. It's not going to be easy. It won't happen in a day. But the challenge is to have it authentic so that no matter where it is discussed, everybody has the same figures. And it's been done in medical sciences, it's done in civil aviation, it's done in many, many other industries which are new industries. That's my suggestion.
Thank you very much for your suggestion. I think it is a good one. As I mentioned in my opening comments, historically the exhibition industry is not well researched, so this is an ongoing process. Having a global standard would be my dream as well. I would love to have that. I think it would be very difficult to achieve and then implement across all the different markets where we have members or where you have members. But I thoroughly embrace your suggestion.
Thank you, Mark. The goal is definitely to have consistency across all methodologies to gather and identify the metrics. So, for example, some of the conversations that will take place during the UFI conference that CIRB will be represented at, Brian will be representing IE as well, is indeed, how do you even count attendees? You know, my current chairperson, Megan Tadal, who is the Senior Vice President of the the Association of Equipment Manufacturers, ConExpo, who does shows in the United States and 3 or 4 around the world, has a challenge because she's dealing with exhibitors who are doing shows in Europe, doing shows in Asia, and the methodology for identifying and counting attendees and visitors is very different from many countries to countries. Where in the United States, predominantly, somebody registers and he or she as an attendee is counted once. Where in other places, and through some of the conversations, Mark, that will take place with the people who are doing all the audits, is every time somebody comes in and out of the hall, they're counted as visitors. So if we can get that down, and you know, the difference between square foot and square meters is a mathematical formula that's easier to do than how attendees and visitors are counted in various shows around the world.
Capturing that is. We would like to hear the comments of Mr. Rakesh Kumar on the subject. Can mic be passed there?
Thank you very much, Nandita. In fact, this is an area where IAEA and UFI. Both can definitely work together, and we look forward to UFI as well as IAEA to work on a joint plan. I think first of all we have to identify some of the additional subjects where we can find out that some research can also be done in later on. And whatever is available right now, there should be access to all of us, to our members also. Many of our members are also members of the UFI over there, and I hope that we'll have some joint plan in future for that.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions, please? I don't see any, so I can finish early. Yeah. Thank you, David, and thank you, Mark, for enlightening us on what both of these organizations do in terms of research, and hope we benefit from your support and collaboration like Mr. Rakesh said. Thank you very much.
UFI and IAEE, two preeminent global associations of the exhibition industry, being represented by Mr. Mark Cochrane and Mr. David Duval, respectively. Thank you, both of you, for giving us your perspective on the importance of research reports. And